Joining me now in the studio is our International Affairs Editor, Angela Diffley. Angela, what does President Macron hope to achieve with this meeting?
He will try to persuade Trump that it is in the United States' interest and in Trump's interest to not abandon Ukraine and not to alienate Europe. And it looks like he's going to do this or try to do this in two ways. One is to frame it as weakness. Emmanuel Macron held an online social media question and answer session last week on Thursday, and he was explaining that he intended, I think we have a graphic here, he intended to say along the lines to Trump of, this is not who you are, this is not your brand, this is not in your interest, you are going to look weak. So that is one idea to suggest that looking from the outside here, this is the perspective, this is how you will look. The other is to try to persuade him that it would be a huge strategic mistake to abandon Ukraine, to reward Russia and possibly let it have access to US weapons, US military aid that is currently in Ukraine, but in Russian-occupied territory. It would also arguably embolden China, and that altogether, it is a massive strategic mistake on the part of the US to do this. So he will try to do that. He's quite well placed to say all of this because of all the European leaders, as we should remember here on France 24, Macron has always been talking about strategic autonomy. For years, he has been saying Europe is too dependent on the United States. We need to invest in our own military industry, our own manufacture. We need to make more stuff, and we need to wean ourselves off dependency on America. So Trump will take him seriously in that. In terms of concrete proposals, Macron has been very closely liaising with Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister. UK, of course, not in the European Union, but still very much interested in the fate of Ukraine and keen to play a part. And an idea is emerging of maybe a 30,000 strong, up to 30,000 strong European defence force. On that frontier with Russia, it would be led by France and the UK. Europe is a bit divided on sending troops. Poland, right on the border there, is firmly against sending any troops. But he does at least have a concrete proposal. What they want is US air defence reinforcement to be extra backing to any such force.
At the end of the day, how much does personal chemistry, the relationship between these two men, actually matter?
It does appear to matter, much more with Trump than perhaps other leaders who are more rational and hard-headed. John Bolton, the former national security advisor in the US, admittedly somewhat disgruntled after being axed by Trump, and that they have a very bad relationship. But John Bolton, in his book, wrote that Trump was unfit to be president of the United States for a number of reasons. But among them, he said, was that Trump is unduly susceptible to flattery. You say nice things to him and you get what you want. And, Boris Johnson is often credited with being able to manage Trump quite well because he just piled on the flattery. So that is one area. It is to be remembered, that Macron, remember that first meeting at the beginning of 2016 when Trump was first, or in the beginning of that first term when Trump was elected, this famous handshake. You can sum up the Macron-Trump relationship in these iconic moments, that handshake, a sort of testosterone fight. Didn't amount to anything very much in the end, but it was clear they both thought it was very important to project some sort of an image. After that, the military parade. Trump was invited to France for a military parade. The feedback was that he loved it and he really appreciated it. He was also invited, although not yet officially president, to the reopening of Notre Dame. Again, that sort of charm he appears to be very, very susceptible to. The thing not to do is to antagonize him. It appears that something has gone very wrong in his personal relationship with Zelensky, and that is something certainly that Macron will not want to end up with that sort of a situation.
Angela Diffley, thank you.